And I don't know about anybody else, but that's okay. It's just the two of us, but that's all right. Okay, so tonight I want to talk about freebies. I know that you have a challenge group together, right? So I had actually started out with a free challenge group, and I did like a free 7-day clean eating and some different stuff like that. I think Kayla's done like a squat challenge, but the freebies are a really good way to connect with people, number one, in such a way that they don't feel like they're being sold to. You know, a lot of times people, when you just sort of message them out of the blue and you haven't built that relationship, and then they're just like, oh God, what are you going to sell me? So if you are offering freebies and providing value, it's going to be really, really helpful in helping you to develop relationships with people. They're going to see you as an authority in what you're talking about, you know, because a lot of like, there's so much information out there. You know, and it's conflicting information. I mean, some places will tell you don't eat carbs, and some places will say don't eat fat, and some places will say don't eat this and don't eat that, and, you know, eat this time of day and only eat carbs on certain days. And there's just so much information out there. So if they see you getting results through your journey, and then you're willingly sharing some of this information with them, it makes it that much easier to separate your voice out from all the noise. And, you know, it's going to position you as an authority, because you're going to be able to speak to whatever it is that you're presenting on, whether it's clean eating or squats or water or whatever. And it's going to, you know, give you a level of credibility while allowing you to sort of practice your delivery, because, you know, we get a little nervous at first, and it's like anything else in life. The more that you practice it, the easier it's going to be. You know, I used to like totally, oh my God, my first live videos. I did a live video the other day in the challenge group, and my best friend texted me when I was done, and she was like, oh my God, your videos from like this time last year until now are so much better. And I'm like, wow, dude, thanks. I guess that's a compliment, but I didn't realize they were so bad, you know, but I guess she didn't mean it to be mean or anything, you know, but yeah, so you get these free groups, and these different freebies that you offer are just a really good way to connect with your audience in a no pressure sort of situation and sort of form that relationship. So the key to it is giving away some of your best stuff for free. So some of your knowledge. You don't want to, a lot of times you'll find in different kinds of like multi-level marketing and stuff like that, if people know a tip or a trick or something that makes life easier, they're like, oh, I know this, and I'm just going to keep it to myself and not share it with anybody because it's mine, you know. But that's selfish, number one, and that's not what we're about in this business. We're about helping and sharing with others as much as we can, providing value, and it just doesn't work. It's just not a heart-centered thing to do, to keep all the good stuff to yourself. You know, I mean, that's mean and terrible, and people need, you know, sometimes they need that little bit of extra to help you trust. So the thing is with these like free challenges and freebie, you know, like meal plans and whatever it is that you come up with that you're sharing with others, people a lot of times, we coaches will make it more complicated than it has to be. And it really doesn't have to be something, you know, super like ornate. You don't have to have like gorgeous graphics that all match, and like done is better than perfect, because people need the information, and they need that more than they need to see a pretty graphic that matches every day and whatever. That stuff will eventually come. But the important thing is getting your message out there in front of people first and foremost before anything else. And then the rest of it is something that you can sort of work in as you go along, but you've got to practice and polish your delivery and that sort of thing too. And a lot of times, like, the simpler the better, because if you have really distracting graphics and really ornate things and too many things, then people just get overwhelmed and they're just like, oh my God, I can't even concentrate. So, you know, it's really like refining your message and projecting the info in a simple, easy to follow manner that's really going to be the important part of these freebies. Forgive me, I have notes that I typed out here, and I probably should have just done a notebook because this feels messy. Okay, so the core parts of what makes a good freebie, sort of like your freebie checklist. Number one, you want it to be attention grabbing. So, you know, there's, like I said, there's a lot of noise in the online world. There's, you know, constantly, you know, try this magic diet pill and this magic wrap and this magic drink and, you know, all these different things. There's just so much noise. So you want to be able to capture people's attention through all that noise. And one way that you can really do that is to come up with like a really good attention grabbing headline. There are some really good free trainings out there on this, on how to write good copy and that sort of thing, but you want something that is gonna, number one, speak to whatever the problem is that you're trying to deal with your freebie, and you want it to be something that promises to have a benefit, if that makes sense. So, you know, rather than saying, you know, oh, I'm a health and fitness guru that, you know, helps people with their health and fitness, and, you know, just on, you want to say something like, you know, especially if you know, have a good idea who your niche is that you're trying to, you know, a lot of the people that I work with are busy professionals that have children, and they're just, you know, they're just really busy and they work full time and whatever. And that's what I am. So, you know, I might say something like, I don't know, like, you know, tired, worn out, no time to, you know, cook meals. Join me for this free 7-day clean eating group. And then say, you know, list off what it's got. You'll have your grocery list, you'll have your meal plan, you'll have your recipes all done for you. And all you have to do is show up and, you know, you'll get all this. And, you know, give them some sort of call to action, like drop a comment below, or you can do like fill out a Google form. But a lot of people I find, at least in my audience, don't do that because they just don't have the time. So, but if they can drop a comment and say, hey, I'm interested, and then you can add them. Or events. Ooh, events on Facebook are so useful. And my success partner, Chelsea, I think I'm going to have her come on and speak in a couple of weeks. But she figured out, when we had the health bet last year for the very first time in August, she did like an event invite and just put, you know, a catchy little cover photo and put, you know, just a little blurb about the health bet and sort of like a preview of what it was going to be about. And then just send an invite out to people. And then a ton of people responded. And she ended up at something ridiculous like Success Club 32 or something like that month. Just from that, because people saw the event invite, and then in the days leading up to when it was going to start, she sort of posted little snippets here and there, little informational things that sort of gave them a preview of what it was going to be about. And then on our very last day, when she, you know, had like the cutoff to order to be able to get your stuff in time to start, she, you know, posted this call to action. And then everybody that had really participated or that had RSVP'd or whatever, she messaged and said, hey, I saw your interest in this group, you know, let's talk or whatever. So it was a really like a short informational freebie that was really hard hitting. So a lot of times I will do event invites, like you saw. I think Stacey, you probably saw with the coaching thing that I did this week. And you know, those are hit and miss. Sometimes you have super, you know, participation, and sometimes you don't. But you can't let that, you know, dissuade you from doing these freebies, because like we talk about all the time, people are still always watching, they're absorbing. I just had a girl message me right before we got on the call, and she was like, I've been watching you for the last year, and I've decided that I'm going to sign up for the all access streaming thing. And she's never liked or commented or anything, and she didn't like me when I was in high school. So I was really surprised. You know, she hated my guts when we were in the choir together. But, so they're always watching, they're absorbing, they're waiting to see what you're doing and taking this information, even if they don't, specifically comment or post or like or anything like that. It's still getting to them. It just, sometimes you have really active groups and sometimes you don't. So yeah, so attention grabbing, to get people interested in what you're doing, that's a really big thing. And a really good tip for that I had learned somewhere along the line, when you're in line at the grocery store or Walmart or wherever, look at the magazines that are there and the headlines that are on them. And there's a ton of stuff about weight loss and slimming down and, getting beautiful and whatever, right? Tons of things, because our society, especially American society, is very, very concerned with the outside. Those are people's pain points. People want to look nice. They want to feel good in their skin. They want to, feel good in clothes that fit and stuff like that. So you can look at these magazines and get sort of some inspiration for attention-grabbing headlines, because that's the stuff that people pay attention to. That's why those magazines sell so well and everybody's on these fad diets and stuff, is because they see it in a grocery store and they're like, ooh, yes, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. That magazine will tell me how to do it. So if you can tailor your freebie, announcements and that sort of thing to really, really talk to their pain points, it's going to grab their attention out of all that noise on the internet and in the online world. So, yeah, so that's number one. Number two, easily consumable. So like we talked about before, it doesn't have to be huge and fancy. It doesn't have to be complicated, because people are busy now. All types of people, we have a million things going on. It's almost like a badge of honor in our society to be the busiest out of all your friends and family or whatever. And everybody's always competing to see who's the busiest and who has the most stuff going on. So people want things that they're going to be able to read through quickly. Not saying that there aren't times when you can get really, really deep and make, long, large posts with information. But if you can condense it into short paragraphs that are easy to read when you're doing these freebies, whether it's like, nutrition tips or why we should drink water or why you need more sleep, you don't have to go into like an Encyclopedia Britannica explanation of why you're doing this. You just need to, just tell them quickly, this is why, bam, 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 because people aren't there. If it's a big, long thing, they're just not, they don't have the time. They're just not going to read it. So easily consumable, very, very important, especially if you're working with, a sector of people that time is a factor. The third thing on your checklist, valuable. It has to be something, there has to be a high degree of perceived value that outweighs the cost of them, sharing their information. Like if you say, sign up for my newsletter, well, what am I going to get for giving you my email address? It better be something really good, It's better be something that's worth my time for me to give out my email address and take the time to open that email and read it and, do whatever with it. So value, what I mean by value is something that solves an immediate problem. So whether it shows them how to do something, and that could be anything to like, a 5-minute recipe to proper squatting form. I don't know if you saw a couple Fridays ago, I had posted like a Fit Tip Friday video, and it was just 30 seconds of me doing the fire hydrant thing from 21 Day Fix, right? So super simple. It just was like 30 seconds. It didn't take very long. And I was like, hey, are you short on time, but you want to work your full body? Here's a move, right? Short, simple, to the point. They're going to look at it and they're going to say, oh, I can do that, and feel like really good that they have move their body somehow without me taking 20 minutes to explain all the proper things. So something that shows them, shows them how to do something, gives them a shortcut, answers a question, alleviates some sort of like frustration or pain they might have been dealing with, something that's going to save them time or money. That's really huge, So if you have like, I don't know, example, like, quick ways to save money at the grocery store or something, or like your top 5 money saving tips for shopping for produce or something like that. It can be anything, but people are all about saving time and money and stuff that helps them to grow and learn. So those are the things that are going to provide value, things that are going to help people improve their lives quickly and without too much effort, to take up all their precious, valuable time. There has to be enough behind it that they are going to feel like they really profited by, joining in your group or giving their email address or participating in your challenge or whatever. Okay. And this one is definitely a societal one, instant gratification. So it needs to be something that they don't have to wait a whole long ton of time for. They get it right away. It's an immediate payoff. So, usually like if I'm doing an event, I'll maybe mention it once or twice about 2 weeks beforehand. And then the week before it's going to start, I start with more hard-hitting stuff, and I'll do the event invite. And I'll give myself maybe like 3 or 4 days. So I'll design the invite, go ahead and invite all my people, put up an initial sort of like explanation about what it's about, and then just post little snippets leading up to. And then depending on what kind of group it is, like if it's a clean eating challenge or something like that, I usually move it into a private group just because it's more appealing to people if you say, join this exclusive private group where we'll have meal plans and recipes and be sharing tips and stuff like that. People like to feel like they are part of something that not everybody is in on the know. You know what I mean? And like feel like they're really getting something cool out of that. So an instant gratification. You don't have to like drag it out forever. Just, here's the meal plan, here's the grocery list, here's the recipes, and then, just post stuff of value, just little tips and tricks and stuff like that. That's if you're doing clean eating. I mean, that's just an example, but it's just something that, because people, it's all about the time. People want it and they want it right now, whether it's, I want to lose 100 pounds overnight from doing one workout or whatever, so we have to keep that in mind when we're designing our freebies. And then of course, like I said before, just keep it simple. Just, it doesn't have to be all fancy bells and whistles and stuff like that. So, okay, so some ways to come up with topics for what you want to do. Searching for keywords that are relevant to whoever your audience is. If you have, an idea, like Jennifer is all about moms that are, busy working moms. And I think Kayla's probably into that too, because she's a mom as well. So if that's your thing, or if it's busy professionals or whatever, sort of searching like keywords in different Facebook groups, and see what your ideal clients are sort of responding to. So, if you're in an interest group of some sort and you search a keyword and you see what people have to say about it, then you're like, oh, okay, well, so-and-so is having a problem with this, and I have a solution to that, and I can do a free challenge and invite all these people. I was in a budgeting group. I had joined like a 90-day budget boot camp or something like that at one point when we were trying to pay off our car. And so people were in there and they were talking about different, things with food and like how expensive it is to try to eat healthy. And so I was like, hey girls, I've got a free 7-day clean eating challenge and all the recipes are stuff that you can get from Aldi. Would you guys be interested? And like 20 people were like, yeah, totally, add me to that. So, that's 20 new contacts that I made just by, feeling out a keyword that was something that they were interested in and having a struggle with. So, so that's a really good way to try to figure out topics. You can also search like, do internet searches like Reddit. People are always posting on, they're always on Reddit, like bitching about different issues and stuff. So you can sort of look for ones that are similar to whatever niche you have. Amazon. Okay, so look for books on Amazon that deal with whatever pain point you're trying to help solve, and then go to the reviews and read what people are saying and figure out, do I have something that could help with that? And then obviously you don't have to track down these people on Amazon, but you can just sort of use that as inspiration to come up with ideas for, different solutions for that, and then present it to your audience, because the whole thing that you're looking at on Amazon is stuff that's within your audience as well. Notice what kind of questions your clients frequently ask you. So if you're hearing the same sort of questions and objections over and over and over, it's a really good idea to take those and figure out ways that you can address them generally within, an info group or something like that, or some sort of freebie that you offer to them. And, you can always just directly ask, like your new clients. I'm constantly asking people in the challenge group, like, what can I help you with? Because I check in with everybody. So I'm like, what are you struggling with this week? Is there anything in particular that you have questions on? You can just ask straight up, because especially once you've built up a relationship, some of my challengers, God bless them, they've been with me since the very beginning. So we're going on a year now. So I have that comfort level with them to be like, all right, what's up? Tell me, what can I do better? What do you need more of? What do you need less of? What should I not talk about as much, or whatever, and so that kind of gives you really like a good idea of issues that you might be able to address on a larger scale with more people within your audience. So ideally what you're doing with these free groups, these freebie challenges and stuff like that, is that's going to be the first step in a conversation in which you sort of engage people in this sequence of nurturing to lead them to eventually being a customer. So, if the freebie, it solves this immediate problem for them, and they see you as someone, who not only knows what they're talking about, but has taken the time to care enough to put that out there for them, that's going to leave them wanting more. And you're going to be at the forefront of their mind, if they ever decide to make that leap, so it's a really good way to start conversations without being weird, without it being icky and feeling unnatural. Sort of, you can foster a group sort of feeling where it's like you're not just individually calling out one person. They can all kind of post, and people might jump on or whatever, jump on the bandwagon and say, me too, me too, me too. And so you've got it, it's just this very natural progression that sort of helps you to help people. And so you can do, there's a ton of different ideas that you can try. Themed things are really good as far as like when you're posting the little info snippets. So you can do like 5 steps to whatever, or 5 things you need to know about whatever. Top 10 resources I use for XYZ, my 10 favorite clean eating, recipes or whatever. People love listed things. And that's actually, I had read that on Huffington Post. One of my bucket list items is to someday have something that I've written published on Huffington Post. I don't know what yet, but something. And so I like voraciously read all these tips for how to get published on Huffington Post. And they're like, people love numbered lists, oddly numbered lists too. 3, 5, 7, they love that. So if you can, as you're posting, 7 ways to deal with X, people are going to love that. They eat it up, and then it's like they can check off their little list and say, okay, I've done this one and this one and this one. So, so those sort of themes are always very, very popular and easy. And then you can use those eventually in the future if you wanted to lead into something more involved. You've already kind of got a basis for what people are interested in and that sort of thing. So anyway, so that's pretty much what I have to offer on freebie groups. They are so, so good, like especially for new coaches that are just getting started and just sort of getting their feet wet. it's a great way to garner attention and I'm sorry, somebody's coming down the stairs. Hello.
Hello.
My husband is in the middle of our team call now.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm getting the dog.
Yeah. So these, I just totally lost my train of thought on what I was talking about. Freebies. Oh, they're really good. They're a good way to, to just sort of get your feet wet and practice your presentation and connecting with people and kind of working all the kinks out as far as that goes. Because the nice thing about a freebie too is that because it's free, even though you're providing a ton of value, people are not going to expect as much as they would have if you made them pay $100. So it's kind of, you can kind of like, if you say something and then you're like, oh God, that was really dumb, or oh, that live video really sucked or whatever, it's okay because, you're learning and it's totally fine. And you can have tons of free groups, later that will allow you to redeem yourself if you make some sort of, horrific mistake or whatever. I don't think anybody will do anything that bad, but you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's a really good way to polish your delivery and that sort of thing. So do you have any questions that I can answer for you?
No, I think you did a pretty good job of covering the bases and things. So
Okay.
it was a lot of good info.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, so what I want to challenge everybody to do is to brainstorm this week, and by Sunday, I would like everyone to post what their freebie is going to be. Come up with an idea for a freebie, post it in the group, what it's going to be, when you're going to start it. And, and then we can all brainstorm together. But I find if you don't, put a date on something, it's easy to just say, oh, I'll get to that in the future rather than just jumping in and doing it. So that's everybody's challenge for this week. Everybody that's watching this replay, by Sunday, what's your challenge going to be? When's it going to start? Okay. All right. Well, if you don't have any other questions or anything, I really appreciate you hopping on. And I'm glad that you're feeling better. So, okay. Well, you have a great evening, and I'll see you later. Bye.